Okay. All right. Very warm welcome and a very good afternoon to each and every participant who has joined this session. And I'm sure you'll be expecting a lot of deep technology discussions into this. Yes, we are here to talk about the artificial intelligence for India, certainly beyond boundaries. And I'm sure the takeaways are going to be enormous, talking about a lot of solutions and what is the futurist thought about AI and how is the adoption and how we have been the data enabler and very especially on the jobs and careers ahead in the AI space. And of course, we have brought in all the best of the industry speakers and people who end up being deep into AI is here on stage with you to talk about this topic. And to spark up and have a great conversation, I would like to invite Mr. Sriram Subramanian, the founder, CEO of Avotaska Innovations. And he's been a techopreneur with about 17 plus years of experience. And he's a digital strategist himself. And he's a transformational leader in all the emerging technologies like extended reality, AI, mobility, and machine learning. And he's got a deeper understanding of technology's evolution and its future state. So one of the right person to be in our stage for today. And he's done a lot of CXO level consulting and contributed several multi-million-dollar enterprise wins as an individual and as a part of his team. And all the more important, he's got a global exposure. I mean, working with different clients into US, UK, Germany, Australia, Singapore, and a lot more. So, having brought the experts, happy to hand it over to Sriram. Thank you for accepting the invitation, Sriram. Over to you.
Thanks, Bhuvan. Thanks, Dheeraj. I'm looking forward to the conversation with the entire participants and the panelists. And to primarily introduce the prime topic for today, artificial intelligence for India beyond boundaries. It's going to be an amazing conversation of how AI is an enabler for the industry, how India can leverage this opportunity for this entire decade, and going forward, what would be the talent requirements and how India can win with AI as an enabler. So to converse on this, we have our panelist, Mr. Manivannan, who is the founder and CEO of Desicrew. And he's been recognized as an emerging international leader by the fellow City University of New York. So he is also pioneered in terms of rural empowerment by Gram IT empowerment program by implementing BPO programs across India and scheming for the same, strategizing for the same. So Desicrew and Mani are like the digital pioneers in the digital operations with AI. So Desicrew operates in the field of computer vision, multimodal AI, computer vision, face recognition, and all the like sophisticated items that comes with AI. And they are with a large team of 1,000 plus members. They are kind of pioneering the digital operations with AI. So I welcome Mr. Mani to be able to share his ideas and vision, and probably have trigger conversations around this through his viewpoint to discuss the aspect of artificial intelligence for India beyond boundaries.
Thank you. Thank you, Sriram, and thanks, Bhuvan, for having me here. I'm looking forward for an exciting afternoon to be able to share our own journey as well as pose some of the questions which we are facing as a country now.
Yeah. So, given the context of our topic today, right? So, we all understand that AI is intended to mimic cognitive intelligence of humans, right? And Gartner says that the hype of AI, right? We've been hearing AI is everything, AI is going to change the world and all of that. But hype cycle is over, and AI is really going to show its impact on how it's going to change the world, how it's going to impact people. How can India leverage this opportunity of adopting AI, being an AI enabler, and what would be the items that will bring about this impact of digital India, and AI being a mainstream, one of the key tenets in digital India also, in enabling the Bharat story with AI.
Yeah, Sriram, the way we should look at the AI in the Indian context, right? they scale largely because they create a lot of wealth for the investors and the employees and so on. AI is going to do all that. But in the Indian context, it's also going to be more of a problem solver. What I mean is that if you look at the priorities as a country, we still have enormous challenges in, let's say, healthcare, education, and so on. So unlike many other technologies which came before, today India is in a position to leverage AI for solving some of its own issues, as well as create an environment for others to create that. And India, in this context, I should also remind all of our viewers, we have articulated our national AI strategy in 2018. So that's not very news, because every time government comes up with a strategy for almost all sectors. But what is interesting is in the worldwide context, between 2016 and 2018, all the leaders, including US, China, France, Canada, Japan, all of them came up with their own national papers or strategy documents, etc. in those years. So India is not lagging behind. India is pretty ahead in terms of thought process. So we have a clearly articulated strategy. And if you look at the key components there, today in our practical world, to look at our customers, right? We are looking at BFSI, telecom, retail, and all the corporate sectors, and they also translate their work into AI. But India has articulated the priority is going to lie in healthcare, education, agri-tech, smart cities, and so on. So clearly the signals are being given, and the market needs to respond to this. And we also need to look at what kind of opportunities we are going to come out of this. Right? Is it only be a service provider to the rest of the world, or is it something which we can create solutions for ourselves? And this is a debate which is going to set the future for us. And one last point on this topic while we are here. India is also unique because, unlike in the past, the social sector or the non-profit or the social goods, whatever name it is called, they are going in a big way for AI. Typically, the social sector and the technology don't really gel well, except for the really top-end institutions. The small ones don't get to access. Knowledge is a big gap. But in AI, we'll see some examples in the during the session. There are a lot of opportunities which have happened for non-profit, which is very unique for India because the problems are only India specific. So that's how I see this opportunity, Shreya.
Beautiful, beautiful. So of course, very well put, Mani. Like there is Niti Aayog that has come up with the AI strategy, and in fact, a lot of state governments have also started putting up AI strategy documents for the state. Tamil Nadu government has a strategy document. Karnataka government has a strategy document in terms of how they enable, and they're kind of showcasing it as also as a leveler of investments into. For showcasing their own states and for investments to come into their state of how they are enabling these technologies and how they are willing to adopt these technologies. As you also said, right, like these also enable companies and startups to look at these as how they can participate in this journey and be part of this winning story of Bharat for AI, right? So the vision that you shared that India as an AI garage, right, like for being a service provider or being a garage for its own problems and its own unique problems that India has for itself, using AI as a tool to devise new approaches of solving them is extremely amazing. And to achieve this, right, what do you think are the capabilities that India needs to go ahead and achieve? And where do we stand in current scenario to go ahead and grab this AI story of Bharat for the next decade or so from there?
Yeah, like I said before, the race is on globally. So every country is ramping up its own capacities and investing in future technologies, in people and so on. India is no different. In fact, if at all, Nitin, our ambition is not as much as, let's say, our neighbor, China. China has clearly articulated saying by 2030, they'll be a leader in AI. So their investments and their government policies, all of them have been orchestrated in that direction. So if you look at India, if you look at traditional matrices like the talent availability or the number of research papers we publish, the patents, and some of the computing infrastructure we have for our own, India does come out in the top 10 in many of these categories. But if you look at the adoption, if you compare to the G20 countries, we're not doing that. But if you look at the individual factors,